firsts. They're scary, they're intimidating. We don't know what to expect. We're in unknown territory. The first time we try something new, we tend to be a little unsteady and unsure of ourselves, whether it's a big life change or trying something new in your art. How do we find peace in these moments? I'm gonna paint my first gouache painting today. It's December and I need to feel warm, cozy, and Christmassy. And what better way to explore that and to feel that than through art? But first, on a more serious note, coffee. The biggest, scariest first for me that I'm experiencing lately, and the reason for my absence, is that I moved to a new country. I'm in Barcelona now. We moved here only with our 2 suitcases and our 2 pets. So the first thing that I obviously did was go out and buy some art supplies. As long as I have a book and something to draw in, I'm gonna be okay. It's a bit of a safety blanket for me. Now let's set the Christmas mood and get to painting. I'm usually not one to do a practice sketch, but today we're painting a Christmas tree. We're not just painting any Christmas tree today, so keep watching to see what I come up with. And since I've never painted a tree of any kind or used gouache before, I figured that a little sketch wouldn't hurt. By the end of my little practice sketch here, I was feeling a lot better and ready to jump in. What I know about gouache is that unlike watercolors, you can layer light over dark. So I went in with sap green and black. This added depth and a good foundation for my mids and highlights that I'm going to be adding later. And then Leo decided to chime in. What's up? Oh, you're so cute. The second I laid down this color, I knew it was wrong, but I kept going. I hoped that I would change my mind. When I finally realized that I needed to change it, I decided to take a step back first. The gray wall I just painted is really depressing. So because I'm not used to this medium, I don't know how it's gonna be when I paint over this with a different color. So I'm gonna do some experimenting in my book and also to find some cool color combos. So let's do that. Although I'm not the biggest fan of planning ahead, sometimes it is necessary. I was feeling too unsure of myself and I didn't want to ruin what I had done so far, so a few color swatches were needed to ease my mind. I blocked in the general shapes that the painting consisted of to determine what color would be best for the walls and floor. In the end, I actually really ended up liking this page in my sketchbook. I'm thinking maybe I could turn this into some sort of painting in the future. And we're going with pink walls. Whenever we hit a bump in the road, we have a choice to make. Do we keep going or do we quit because it got too hard? We're gonna keep going. So I switched off my camera to take off some of the pressure. It's a couple hours later and I figured out the walls. I added a thicker, more opaque layer and it totally covered the gray. I know it might seem weird that I needed to turn off my camera, but it's a lot more work than I ever could have imagined. It might be because I haven't found the perfect setup, or maybe it's because sometimes we need to create for ourselves and not for an audience. But this is as far as we're getting for the night. So I will see you tomorrow. Quiet, please. I'm struggling with this painting. I'm realizing that maybe I should have practiced my gouache a little bit before I dove into a full-on painting, but there's no fun in that. I learn the most by just actually throwing myself into it, and I can see in my painting where I started and what the most recent part of my painting is, because I have gotten better as I went along. I should be Louis! I'm learning so much with my gouache paints here. It is the parts where you struggle in your art that leave you feeling the most accomplished and the most like you've achieved something. I know for myself, I focus on everything having to be so perfect, and if it's not, then it wasn't worth it. But if things don't turn out perfectly or the way you expected, there's only more room for learning and improving, and that's what I need to use this painting for. Not everything has to be perfect. Louis boy! Neither is my bunny. The color of the floor just was not juicy enough for me. So here's a more saturated version of the yellow that we have going. I'm working on getting a better gradient as well, but my blending skills are majorly lacking. Honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing. Also, a big mistake I made in the beginning was taking the paper off the block it was on. I'm not used to working with water, but of course it warped as soon as water was applied to the paper. It's an okay, easy thing to work around, and it'll be fine if I decide to put it in a frame, but ideally I would have kept the page attached to the block. After turning the paper around and around a million times, I started to get the hang of it and actually finished the floor with an acceptable gradient as well. Now I officially can't say that I've never tried gouache before. I realized through this process how important it is to explore new mediums. It opens up so many new possibilities, and it can even guide you in a new artistic direction, and that is super exciting to me. I will, however, be going back to my good old oil paints to finish up a couple projects. And although this isn't my best work, I'm proud of myself for trying something new and not giving up when it was challenging. I haven't quite cracked the gouache code yet, but I will. Here's the finished painting, all ready and framed. You like my color combo today? I'm loving it. I am absolutely beat. And you don't need to know that. That's not why you're here. I hope you liked my little video here. Have a beautiful week, have a beautiful day, have a beautiful life, and hopefully I will see you next week, because I will be back on an actual schedule, because we want to do this for a living. So, see you next week. Bye! I will be back, because I will be back, because I will be back. I'm a big kid now.